Some small towns keep secrets, dark secrets that stay buried for years. What I'm about to share with you is one such secret that has been hidden for nearly 5 decades. Before we begin, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a true horror story on this channel. Have you ever heard of Oakwood Grove? Probably not. This tiny town in rural Pennsylvania was removed from most maps after 1975. There's a good reason for that. What happened there on May Day of 1975 was so disturbing that locals refused to speak of it. County records were sealed. News stories were buried. But the truth cannot stay hidden forever. I discovered this story while researching forgotten American towns. What I found sent chills down my spine. Prepare yourself for the terrifying true events of the May Day curse. Oakwood Grove was once a thriving farming community with just over 800 residents. Founded in 1842, the town was known for its apple orchards and tight-knit community. Like many old European settled towns, Oakwood Grove held on to ancient traditions brought over by its original founders. Their May Day celebration was the biggest event of the year. Bigger than Christmas or Independence Day. The town square would be decorated with flowers. A massive maple stood in the center. People wore flower crowns and danced from dawn until dusk. But Oakwood Grove had another May Day tradition that wasn't so innocent. One that dated back to the town's founding. Something they called the offering. Each year, townsfolk would write their troubles on small pieces of paper. Things they wanted to be free from. Bad habits, fears, grudges. These papers were placed in a wooden box carved with strange symbols. At midnight, the box would be burned in a bonfire, while the town elder spoke ancient words. According to town legends, this ritual kept bad fortune away from Oakwood Grove. For over a century, the town never suffered major disasters. No floods, no fires, no disease outbreaks. While neighboring communities struggled, Oakwood Grove thrived. But everything changed in the spring of 1970. April 1975 was unusually cold in Pennsylvania. Frost killed many early crops. Farmers worried about their livelihood. The town's mood darkened with each passing day of bad weather. Adding to the worry was the disappearance of Thomas Miller, the town elder who had led the May Day ritual for over 30 years. He vanished from his home on April 25th. No signs of struggle. No note. His clothes and belongings remained untouched. The only thing missing was the ancient book that contained the May Day ritual instructions. The town council met to discuss what to do. According to records I found, they decided to proceed with May Day celebrations without the traditional midnight ritual. Without the book and without Elder Miller, they felt it was safer to skip the offering. This decision would prove fatal. On April 30th, the day before May Day, something strange washed up on the banks of the creek that ran through town. Witnesses described it as a bundle of sticks bound with red twine in the shape of a person. Corn husk doll, but life-sized. Attached was a water-damaged note with only 3 words still readable. Complete the ritual. The town council didn't know what to make of this. Some saw it as a prank by teenagers. Others believed it was an omen. In the end, they removed the strange effigy and burned it. They still planned to skip the midnight ritual. That night, every dog in Oakwood Grove began to howl, non-stop, from sunset to sunrise. Not a single person in town slept. May 1st, 1975 dawned unusually warm after weeks of cold. The sky was deep blue without a single cloud. Birds sang in the trees. It seemed like the perfect day for celebration. The festivities began as usual. Children ran through the town with baskets of flower petals. Women hung wreaths on doors. Men raised the maypole in the square. By noon, the entire town gathered for the feast and dancing. Old newspaper photos show smiling faces. People linking hands around the maypole. Plates piled high with food. No one suspected what would happen in the hours to come. The first strange thing was the flowers. Around 2 p.m., witnesses reported that every flower in town, those in gardens, in wreaths, in the girls' hair, began to wilt. Not slowly as flowers normally do, but all at once. Within minutes, they turned black as if burned. Then came the birds. Hundreds of them fell from the sky, dead on impact. No signs of injury or disease. They simply stopped flying and dropped to the ground. The celebration halted. Parents gathered their children. The town council met in the community hall to discuss these disturbing events. That's when they found Elder Miller's journal on the steps of the hall. No one saw who left it there. The journal was open to a page with a warning that chills me even as I read it to you now. The offering must never be missed. What was given freedom must be returned to bondage each year. If the chain breaks, all that was held at bay will come at once. By sunset, a strange mist rose from the creek. Not the usual evening fog, but something thick and greenish-yellow. It moved against the wind, creeping toward the town square. The temperature dropped rapidly. People reported seeing their breath in the suddenly frigid air. The mist surrounded the town, cutting off the roads leading out. At 8:17 p.m., according to police reports, the power went out across Oakwood Grove. Phone lines went dead. Cars wouldn't start. As darkness fell, people gathered in their homes, locking doors and windows. Locks wouldn't help them that night. From police reports and survivor accounts, I pieced together what happened next. At exactly midnight, every mirror in town shattered simultaneously. Glass exploding outward as if something was trying to break through from the other side. Then the whispers started. Hundreds of people across town reported hearing voices coming from the walls of their homes. Voices speaking in a language no one recognized. Voices that somehow everyone understood despite the strange words. The voices all repeated the same message. The debt is due. The chain is broken. We are free. Children were the first to see them. Shapes moving in the mist outside windows. Tall, thin figures with too many limbs, bodies twisted in impossible ways. Some reports describe them as human-shaped but wrong, like someone trying to fold a human body into the shape of an insect. By 1 a.m., the first screams began. What happened between 1 a.m. and dawn is pieced together from the few survivor accounts and the garbled emergency calls that somehow got through to neighboring towns. The entities, whatever they were, began entering homes, not by breaking down doors or smashing windows. Witnesses described them seeping through cracks like smoke before reforming inside. They didn't attack physically. Instead, they seemed to feed on fear and despair. People exposed to these entities fell into states of catatonic terror or uncontrollable panic. Some clawed at their own skin. Others ran blindly into the mist. Those who had participated most actively in May Day celebrations over the years were affected worst. The May Queen, 17-year-old Sarah Henson, was found the next day with her hair turned completely white, unable to speak, endlessly weaving an invisible maypole with her hands. She remains in a psychiatric facility to this day. The most horrifying reports came from the town square. As if drawn by some unseen force, dozens of townspeople walked trance-like to the maypole in the middle of the night. There they began a slow, shuffling dance, around and around, hour after hour. Even as their feet bled and their legs gave out, they continued moving. The few who tried to flee the circle were pulled back by invisible hands. At the center of this nightmarish dance, witnesses reported seeing something taking shape. Something that formed from the mist and the shadows and the fear. Something wearing Elder Miller's face like an ill-fitting mask. State police arrived at dawn, responding to broken emergency calls. What they found was a town in chaos. 17 people were dead. Not from wounds or violence, but from heart failure brought on by extreme terror. Over 50 more were found in various states of catatonia or madness. Nearly 100 residents were missing and never found. The most disturbing scene was the town square. The maypole had somehow grown roots into the ground. Deep roots that, when excavated later, were found to contain human teeth and hair. The earth around it was scorched in a perfect circle. And at the base of the pole was the wooden offering box that should have been burned. Inside were hundreds of slips of paper, not just from that year, but from every year since the town's founding. Each slip contained a written fear or trouble. Each slip was now blank. Whatever had been contained by the ritual was now free. In the days that followed, strange phenomena continued. Electronics wouldn't work within town limits. Plants refused to grow. Water from the creek turned bitter and undrinkable. Within a month, the government evacuated the remaining residents. Official records claim it was due to environmental contamination, but declassified documents I found tell a different story. They speak of mass psychosis and possible hallucinogenic contaminants in the water supply. By July 1975, Oakwood Grove was completely abandoned. By 1977, it was removed from official maps. The area was fenced off and marked as a watershed protection zone. But the story doesn't end there. Every year since 1975, strange occurrences have been reported in the areas surrounding where Oakwood Grove once stood. On May 1st, 1976, 7 hikers went missing in the forest near the abandoned town. They were found 3 days later with no memory of what happened. Each had intricate circular patterns etched into their skin, patterns that doctors confirmed were not made by any tool, but seemed to have grown from within. In 1980, a research team investigating the abandoned town disappeared. Their equipment was found scattered around the old town square. Their final recordings captured hundreds of voices whispering in unison. In 1992, a family that moved into a house just outside the restricted zone woke on May Day to find their child dancing in circles in the yard at dawn. When asked why, the 5-year-old said, "The thin people showed me how." Most recently, in 2018, satellite images revealed something unusual. For just one day, May 1st, the abandoned town appeared to be whole again when viewed from above. Buildings that had crumbled decades ago looked intact. And in the town square, hundreds of figures could be seen gathered around a tall central pole. By the next day's satellite pass, everything was ruins again. To this day, the government denies anything supernatural happened in Oakwood Grove. The records remain largely classified. Survivors rarely speak about their experiences, and when they do, their stories are dismissed as trauma-induced delusions. But I've spent years tracking down witnesses and documents. The pattern is too consistent to ignore. Something broke free in Oakwood Grove on May Day 1975, something that had been held back by yearly rituals and offerings of fear. Some survivors believe that whatever escaped is still contained within the town's boundaries. Others think it's slowly spreading, year by year, May Day by May Day. The most terrifying theory comes from Elder Miller's journal, which one survivor managed to keep hidden from authorities. The final entry, dated April 24th, 1975, the day before he disappeared, reads, "I understand now. We never trapped anything here. We were never the jailers. We were the jail, and now the prison doors are opening. So what really happened in Oakwood Grove? Was it mass hysteria? Environmental poisoning, or something beyond our understanding? The government keeps the area restricted to this day. Signs warn of chemical contamination. Armed guards patrol the perimeter. But they're not keeping people out. They're keeping something in. If you search hard enough, you can find the coordinates online. But I strongly advise against visiting, especially on May Day. Those who ignore the warnings often become part of the growing list of missing persons. The most chilling part? In the last 5 years, small towns across America have reported finding strange wooden figures on April 30th. Stick figures bound with red twine, accompanied by notes with those 3 dreaded words. Complete the ritual. Is the curse of Oakwood Grove spreading? Are ancient forces breaking free from their yearly bonds? Or is someone or something trying to restart what began in 1975? If you enjoyed this true horror story, please hit the like button and subscribe for more unexplained mysteries and terrifying true tales. Leave a comment below if you've ever experienced anything strange on May Day. Perhaps together we can piece together this mystery before next May Day arrives. Remember, some traditions exist for a reason. Some rituals protect us from things we've forgotten to fear. Sleep well tonight, and maybe mark your calendar for May 1st. just to be safe.